Welcome to Vouch, the show where every review is a recommendation because I only talk about things I like. I also don't waste your time. Raw Metal is a stealth action game, but the stealth and the action are amicably divorced and only meet up on Thanksgiving, birthdays, and Christmas to make their kids happy. You're this funky little dude with glowing eyes, and you are infiltrating this facility for plot reasons. No one wants you here, so you've got to sneak around the guards or just beat the snot out of them. The stealth is top-down. You slink in and out of shadows, looting crates for gear that make the combat easier, and key cards that give access to special rooms, the most important of which gives the ability to progress to the next level via the elevator you started in. It's a bit of a roguelite, but the level design is not procedural. Loot varies, card locations have a set rotation, and some enemies may have different patrol patterns, but the structure of the building is consistent, which is nice, because you're going to be doing this 1,000,000 times, and knowing the territory helps immensely. In the demo, which is all that's out right now, there's 3 levels and the boss. I'm terrible at video games, so I went through these levels a quadrillion times. I reckon it would have been really frustrating if I got lost each attempt in an ever-changing maze, but instead, I felt my personal mastery of how to infiltrate the area growing with each attempt, as I remember tricks from prior runs. The action is third person, and the camera sort of floats strangely around you like someone who's watching a fight happen in the street and doesn't really want to get involved, but they have their phone out recording the entire thing, and every so often it gets too close to them for their comfort, so they swing around to the other side as to not become collateral damage. This can cause irritation when an enemy is stuck behind an object so you can't see or react to their attacks, but for the most part, you get a clear view of what's happening, and the demo's only in alpha, so they've plenty of time to tinker with how it works. If you've ever played Absolver or Sifu, the combat will feel somewhat familiar, though it's been stripped down, which I love, because as much as I enjoyed playing those games, the complexity of the combat became a detriment to enjoying the gameplay. It was clearly the sort of thing you either lose yourself in, or get lost trying to understand. Raw Metal pares it all down to a beautifully efficient system. You have 2 attack buttons, as well as a dodge and a parry. The 2 attack buttons are your mouse buttons. There's something viscerally satisfying just mashing the mouse buttons like no tomorrow. You can click rapidly for a flurry of blows, or hold down 1 for a heavy attack. It's very intuitive and strikes a cathartic balance between frantic clicking and thoughtful planning out of combos. At first, it felt crushing. I couldn't figure out the timing of parries, I wasn't breaking the enemy's guard, I was really just getting my shit kicked in. But eventually, something clicked. I started hitting my parries, I started playing more carefully, taking out the guards one at a time, and using the gear that I kind of forgot existed. When you lose, you're pissed, but then you just load up another run. When you win, you feel like God, and that is exactly how a beat-em-up should feel. The first game I ever made a Vouch video about was actually Streets of Rage, which is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and this feels kind of nostalgic for that kind of gameplay. The only nitpick I have in the entire game is the amount of steps it takes to start a new run. They've got crossfades and menus galore, but when you're in the zone doing run after run after run, the minimum 10 to 15 second buffer before you can even get to the opening loading screen of a new run is frustrating. I've told the devs about it, and I'm hoping they can get that tweaked before final release, but all in all, that's a nitpick. Lastly, there's the gear system. You have armor, gauntlets, boots, helmets, there's also a bunch of consumables. At first, I was just ignoring them, and I guess you could beat the game without them, but they're very useful if you remember to use them. I just had to figure out, what their actual use was. Sometimes I find myself caught by a whole posse of enemies, and if you're facing 3 or 4 enemies, whew, good luck, brother. But the tear module can just teleport you somewhere else. It's really nice in a pinch. The taser dart stuns enemies, which is useful for harder fights, and you can bring gear back to the surface and bank it, and there's an upgrade system and long-term progression that you affect in each of your runs, but to be quite honest, I didn't play with that. I just kept going in like it was a hard reset roguelike, and I enjoyed it a lot. So if that's what you're looking for, you can get it, but if you want to play with the more complex mechanics, there's more for you to explore. It's the kind of game that works on multiple levels, which is pretty cool. Their YouTube channel only has 5,000 subscribers as of writing, though I found them when they only had 2,000 subscribers, so I'm cool. But the game has a lot of unique ideas on display, and a really killer visual style. Voice lines are sometimes hilarious, sometimes gruff and badass like Metal Gear Solid. The boss is really cool and challenges you to use all the tools in your disposal while adapting to new attack patterns, but I won't spoil it. Demo's free. Play it or not. I don't care. Bye. The video's now over. This is me just rambling about me and the channel. You can click off if you would like, but if you're gonna stick around, this may seem like a new series, but it's not. I've been making reviews and recommendations style videos since the very beginning. I just never really got into branding, which means when one of them does really good and gets like 80,000 views, when the next video shows up on their recommended feed, they can't recognize it as the same series. It looks completely different, even though my thumbnails go really hard sometimes. So this year I decided to fuck around and Make the thumbnails recognizable, make it like a series proper. My friend Frog drew it for me because he's a G like that. I think it came out looking really cool. Here's what the series is for, what it's about, right? Every time I make a video, it's going to be about something I like. But it's also going to be about something I think is underrated. So it's either going to be some indie bullshit that no one's ever heard of. It could be, just alright, but it deserves more attention than it's getting. Or it could be, moderately big, but it deserves to be huge. So that doesn't mean I will never review something that's really big and popular. I just won't review it unless it deserves more than it already is getting. That's the goal of Vouch. It's also called Vouch because I'm less going into a super deep exploration of why everything is good and bad. I'm just saying, I like this. Take my word for it. That's it. I'm vouching for it, right? And so if I vouch for something and then you check it out and you like it, and that happens over and over and over again, you're going to start to trust my opinion. So when I say, I vouch for this, you're going to be like, oh shit, it's good. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong, and I don't want you watching my videos anyway. I'll be making as many of these as I can. Right now, I'm on a twice-a-month upload schedule. I might do a few more than that, but that's like, my baseline. I make stuff because I like it, it's really fun, and it's kind of an obsessive compulsion at this point, but I work multiple jobs. My time is really limited. I would love to make multiple videos a week, but I can't allow that time because I have to make money to live. If you're a trust fund baby or stupid rich, you can give me money on Patreon. $5 a month to see the videos early, and also the list of things I'm gonna vouch before I make them into videos. Weird way to spend money, but I mean, like, I'm not your mom.